Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Dr. Khan from Khan's Tutorial. Today we'll be speaking about whether accelerated, gifted and talented programs are right for your child. Gifted and talented programs have been around for quite some time in New York City, but they've gotten through some recent changes and expansions. Before we get to the G&T expansion by New York City, we'd like to share our most recent breaking news. This summer, in 2022, we are returning in person for grades 3, 4, 5, and 6 at Khan's Tutorial Jackson Heights. We're taping live from Jackson Heights. For July and August, we'll have classes on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 3 to 5 for writing in person. And from September till June, we'll have classes back on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays for writing, ELA, and math. So take a look at the photo here of our amazing classrooms. There's amazing students preparing for state exams, specialized high schools exams, college entrance exams, the SATs, all of it. We can't wait to have all of our Common Core students back at Jackson Heights this summer. So back to the Gifted and Talented program and the overall New York City landscape when it comes to grade level proficiency. So right now, think about where your child is. If they're a 4th grader, like my daughter is just finishing up the 4th grade, they're probably between age 9 and 10. And based on that age and that grade level, they have to meet a certain minimum standard of reading proficiency and math proficiency. So at Khan's, we're really proud that we've had nearly 1,500 kids get 4s. That's exceeding proficiency across the board for nearly 1,500 kids at Khan's Tutorial for each of the years in the past. More troubling though, outside of Khan's Tutorial, only 50% of students in around New York City are reaching level 3. If we look and take a microscope and look at the certain number of communities that are underfunded or just under-resourced, under-supported, you'll see those numbers even have a greater problem at 75% of students not reading at grade level, 75% of students not doing math at grade level. So let's take a look at it borough by borough. So if you're from Queens like I am, you'll see the problems in Queens exist, and it's broken down by racial groups, by ethnicities, and of course districts. So if you're from Queens like I am, and you happen to be an Asian New Yorker, Asian New Yorkers in Queens, there's a place in District 29 where only 42% of Asian American New Yorkers are reading or doing math at grade level. And if you're going to the mosques and having a lot of our neighbors from the Black, Latin community, and even white New Yorkers, those numbers can even be worse in that neighborhood. So in District 29, for example, we only have 24% of a particular minority group, 23% of another minority group, and 24% of whites only at grade level proficiency. If you go to some of the other boroughs, it gets even worse. In the Bronx, we have certain districts where only 12% of students from certain ethnic groups are proficient in ELA. That means if you have 100 4th graders, only 12 or 13 of them are reading according to what their age is. And that's a travesty, and that's something we are committed to changing here at Khan's. If you go over to Brooklyn, you take a look at their ELA numbers, moreover certain parts of North Brooklyn where the rates can be really bad. You have about 15% of students in one district reading at grade level. And whereas in the same borough, just a few districts over, you have 72% of kids in a certain ethnic group able to read at their grade level. So what's going on here? Is it a question of funding? Is it a question of teaching? Is it does it matter of what borough you live in? No matter what, you can fix it by coming to Khan's, doing extra practice work at home, and we'll be talking about that. Take a quick look at some of the math proficiency numbers for Queens. Around math, we have some better scores for some of our Khan's communities. We have Khan's kids in districts. As you'll see, the districts where Khan's has existed, particularly for Asian Americans, those particular districts are doing really well. So no matter what's happening in New York City, we're doing everything we can to support our community members to be ahead of all of their students, all of their peers in school. So more recently, last month, the new mayor, Eric Adams, and the new Chancellor Banks, made a collective decision to expand GNT. So we're going to go into the expansion of GNT and what that means and which grades they're taking in. So right now, the GNT Gifted and Talented program is being expanded in New York City. It's being rebranded as the Accelerated Learning Program. We're going to be adding, the New York City is going to be adding 2,500 seats in total. And you're going to have seats in kindergarten, 100 seats in kindergarten, and at least 1,000 seats in third grade that are added. In total, 2,500 seats that could be your child's or your neighbor's, your nephew, your niece. And in order to get in, you're going to need to do well. Even though they write 90% is what they're looking for, you really want to make sure that your child is able to score a 95. You never want to leave anything to chance. You never want to leave anything to a lottery, or in case they say, hey, we don't have enough funding for everyone below a 94, everyone above a 94, you're good. So you always want to aim higher than whatever target's established. So that means a 95 in your classwork, homework, and school average based on classroom performance and teacher recommendations. So teacher recommendations, you gotta learn how to talk with your teacher, you gotta show up, you gotta raise your hand. And let's take a look at a sample letter. We're pleased to announce that in conjunction with Community District Education Council 30, the Department of Education would like to further engage families regarding potential admissions to the middle school GNT process. So there's letters like this. I'm really proud to say that just yesterday in my home, my daughter, she takes Constatorial on the digital platform. Maybe she'll be joining us in person. And she, after taking a year of Constatorial regularly, she tested into her GNT program. She was recommended by her teachers, and she's already gotten the news that she's gotten in. So there are two types of GNT programs. There's K through 5 GNT programs, that serves grades kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and their entry points in kindergarten, entry points in grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3. And there's also top performer GNT programs, another type of GNT program where they have 32 programs, one in each New York City community school. And this serves children from grades 3, 4, and 5. So children enter these programs by invitation only in grades 3. And top performing grade 2 students whose grades are in the top 10% of the school. So if your child's in grade 2 and they're top 10%, hopefully you can be in touch with your school and you'll get some invitations to sit and become invited to their GNT program. So let's take a look. In the last few years, we've had over 1,500 kids per year. One year where we had reaching level 4. So as you know, there's a level 1, which is below. Level 2 does not meet expectations. Level 3 meets standards, expectations, and level 4, which exceeds it. At Cons, we celebrate students receiving level 4s. So this is from a few years ago, right before the pandemic, where we had a whole auditorium at Queens College filled with proud students, filled with proud families. We have community leaders, we have the representatives from the Queensborough President's Office, as well as state senators from the Bronx and Brooklyn, and all over New York City. So we're really, really looking forward to your child being one of our next recipients of our certificates. So this year we've had every single season we give out our report cards or our certificates of either of completion or certificates of mastery. So you want to be sure that you're working towards certificate of mastery, because that's the level that that shows you're at the gifted and talented level and you're getting up from your 2s and 3s into that level 4 mastery level. So let's take a look at when we have classes here at Cons. As you know, kids that are in 3rd grade, they're preparing and have already started 4th grade material. So my child who's finishing the 4th grade and will be starting 5th grade in September, they'll be doing 5th grade material now at Constatorial every Friday for writing, every Saturday for ELA, every Sunday for math. And that's going to happen in June, that's going to happen in July, all the way till the end of the summer program in August. So we have all 3 months there, and we're going to be, so by the time you're ready for school back in September, you're going to be way ahead of your classmates. So let's also remember that outside of Constatorial, in addition to us, there'll be a lot of other resources. Absolutely go to your local library and check out 180 Days of Reading Books, Scholastic Success. And as always, we use several different types of supportive software and educational programs. So check out our material from Lumos that we use with Lumos Learning and any of our Cons worksheets. Thank you so much for watching this video on the gifted and talented. Remember, applications are due this month. Results come out in July. Best wishes on your gifted and talented journey, and we'll see you back at Consatorial, whether in person or on our live digital platform. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.